started the conversation. I talked back, and he still had ammunition and everything else. And when it come to the point where he was going to turn this way to home, and I was going this way, we both turned it off and
Had enough for the day.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Do you remember what aircraft he was in?
he was in a FW-190.
Ooh, that's a bad one, yeah. Very powerful aircraft.
But I've run into quite a few like that. People, you know, not quite a few. I've run into a few. I've run into one on the ground,
Yeah.
and he talked to me, so forth. I'll tell you, there's times that I go to bed at night, and I don't want to, but I dream and I think of that combat. And you know, I see faces. I see faces. And that gets to me. The thing that I really upsets me is I've killed people. I've killed innocents. And I don't believe that's right. Why
Hank,
do I kill a little boy or a mother or something? That's not right. But I did.
Well, Hank, you have to remember that tyrants and dictators invite this kind of
I know
chaos.
That's the only way I think I could handle it. That
It had to be stopped.
It was a tyrant.
And we need to take a big lesson from that right now, because there's more tyrants in the world.
I know there is. Yeah.
And Hank, you did your duty. We know that stuff weighs on you, Hank, and we wish we could embrace you inside the way you're feeling, because we know that what you went through was extraordinary amounts of stress, much more than you really should have been able to handle. And what you did was you convinced yourself you could handle it, but maybe it's not that simple.
It wasn't.
You know. But as far as what's in the past, Hank, just imagine now, had Germany taken over the world.
I do. I often imagine.
You know they were close to the bomb.
Yeah.
He would have dropped that all over the darn place. You know it.
Yeah. So, you see, I never was a hero. Never. I was a scared U.S. citizen.
Maybe you don't know that is a hero.
Maybe it is.
I'm not here to blow smoke either. What I want you to know is that we love you.
Yeah.
That we really do care about all that effort that you put in at that time in your life, okay? And we don't want, I'm only 48, okay?
Yeah.
But I can already see younger generations not being taught a lot of this.
I know.
And this is bothering me, because my personal life, touching your generation has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Okay, your generation made me feel good as a person. I'm talking about my grandparents and their friends and family.
Yeah.
The next generation doesn't make me feel that way, frankly.
Yeah.
And we know that your heart was in the right place, along with the whole country at the time.
Well, we've done the best we could. I'll say this, that I was happy when it was over.
Oh, I can imagine.
I also felt some happiness that I did have. No matter how light, I did have a hand.
Those were the guys I felt the most for, were those bombers in Europe, because they were forced to go out in daylight with no cover, no escorts. It was a sitting duck mission, and I can't believe, you gotta shake your head looking in the mirror once in a while. How did you do that?
I don't know.
You mean you never even were hit by shrapnel or anything?
Oh, heck yes.
Oh, yeah?
I brought an airplane home. I told you, with a whole 440 some holes.
I mean, your body though.
Oh no.
You never got hit personally.
No, I had a shell come up right here, an 88 millimeter. It come up through the bottom and went by right out through the roof and exploded over my tail section, blown off about that much of the tail section. And now that was close.
I'll say.
But
Not as close as this one. Yeah.
I had that too. I'm fun.
You felt that actually. Oh yeah.
When I got home, we lifted the parachute, and there was a piece of shrapnel about that big around.
Yeah.
And I told the ground crew chief, Sarge, I said, do we have any iron? He said, I have a little piece. I said, put it in there. And he put it in, and it wasn't more than another week. So, I fell again. There's that shrapnel come, and the iron was up like this.
Oh my
And there
gosh.
was a piece of shrapnel just about come through, up through the.
That
Bottom of
is
his seat.
so. All told, though, in over 70 missions, you personally didn't get hit.
No.
That is unbelievable.
I was missed there. I was missed with an 88 that come up through the cockpit. Now we took a string, the hole up here and the string down there, and it was about that far from me.
Well, what did you get your second Purple Heart for?
Well,
Was that when you were shot down?
yeah.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What is this about getting shot down anyway?
Oh, he got shot down twice.
Twice?
Well, one time you got shot down, and one time you just couldn't get the plane home.
Right,
You had
that-
crash landed in the ocean.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So these are parts I don't even know about.
Oh, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the Captain Sully movie because
Oh,
he had
sure.
154 souls on board.
Yeah.
Hank did the same thing in the ocean or in the bay with his B-17, his shot-up B-17. He landed it on the water.
Where was this?
Uh,
Is that in the Med?
Yeah.
So you got picked up by Navy?
The British.
The British picked you up.
Yeah.
And did you lose any men when you went down? So you just kind of brought it in, huh? That must have been a whole new experience for you there, huh?
You want something to stop quick? I brought it in. The tail must hit a little
First.
bit, then it'll come down. If you brought it in like
Oh,
that,
you'll flip it.
you'll-
So you didn't flip it, which is extraordinary too.
Yeah, just
You had already dropped your munitions then? Or did
Oh,
you have
yeah.
bombs on board?
the one time I did, but I dropped them before I
Sure.
had to go in. So, oh yeah, I did twice in the water. And,
Now, did the airplane sink?
oh yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
And so your guys got out. You got a raft
No, yeah, but there was a British boat
real close by.
close by.
Boy, wasn't that lucky.
It come over full speed, and it picked us up.
Wow. And so that aircraft is still laying on the ocean floor now.
Yeah.
I should go see
That's
where that
not
is.
the only one, boy.
Oh boy, I know that. Well, I'm a scuba diver, and I'm very interested in going and seeing the wrecks underwater.
Yeah,
Now tell me about, you had a second time you were shot down, you say?
yeah, well, you know, that time I was shot down. Thank God, I had a farmer's field. It wasn't too bad. It was little trees and so forth. I set it down in there. Otherwise, I'd have crashed.
So what was the reason, was it the radio stopped, or what's...
No, the engines. I had lost 2 engines, and I was barely able, the second mission, time I went down, I was barely able to keep the airplane in the air. And then I got a hit on number 3 engine, on the 3rd engine, and
That was it.
that was it. I couldn't stay up.
So you were still lead then, though? So somebody had to take over lead
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
take
yeah.
them home.
Yep,
You were on your way home?
yep,
And then, so you had to crash land.
yep.
Did you actually get the gear down and everything?
No, I don't. I'm not,
You don't do that?
I don't do that. Not
Not in the mud or grass.
That's right. I
So you
put her
came in
down
and
on
just
the
skidded
belly.
her.
It's just like that.
But you had your ball turret guy get out of there,
Oh,
obviously.
heck yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You probably felt that first almost, right? The ball hitting.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah,
So, but you brought it into a slide and no fire or anything?
No.
You are you're like a magician, man.
So that's why when I saw the movie Sully, I thought, Hank did that with a shot up
Oh,
B-17.
yeah.
60, 70 years later, yeah.
Yeah.
Or earlier, rather.
So, what do you feel like you have an affinity for the B-17? Do you love the aircraft, or is it something you found a burden? You liked it.
I liked it.
She was good, right?
She was good to me.
He had a lot more respect for the B-17 than he ever did for the B-29.
You didn't care for the
He thought
29?
The B-20, the B-17 he thought was a better airplane than the B-29.
The 29 was too tricky. It's, my God, in the morning you go to start it and you look down the line, maybe out of 30 planes for the mission, 20 of them is all you're going to get. The other 10 wouldn't start or something would
They had problems with the engines.
Yeah.
The original, that's why all those current, there's only two 29s flying right now.
Yeah.
They don't have the original engines in there.
I
Because,
flew the 29.
yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you have on a 29 maybe?
Oh, maybe I have around 400.
Yeah. And that was pressurized.
Yeah.
Was that that was a new experience for you?
Yeah, it was.
Did you feel, you saying though, putting the mechanical part of the engines aside being difficult, how was it to fly though?
I didn't mind it as much as a lot of guys. They cussed it and everything else. I don't know why. Yet I flew more than one 29. And I got along with it.
Yeah.
It was a little tricky,
Yeah.
especially on landing.
Yeah.
It was tricky, but I got along with it.
I think he'd get along with any bomber.
Yeah, I think he could handle anything he got in the cockpit of.
Tell me briefly when you went on. Tell me again the amount of missions in World War II and the amount of missions in Korea. I know it's in here.
On the missions in World War II, there it is,
78 missions in World War II and 51 in
Korea.
Korea. So in Korea, you were flying the 29 probably
Yes.
mostly.
Yeah.
Is that all of those missions in 29s?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a few. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If he would have stayed in, he would have been in 52s.
Oh yeah, you would
They
have
tried to entice him to stay in, and they were going to send him to training to fly 52s.
Yeah. So Vietnam came along, you were out,
Yeah.
and you didn't want to go back. I can't imagine you would.
I would have,
Would you really?
but
You already did your part, buddy.
well, that didn't matter. I love my country,
Hmm.
and I've already think I proved to the government
You sure
that
have.
I will sacrifice my life
Yep, you sure
for
have.
my flag and my country.
He was never actually supposed to go to Korea. He was activated to be a training officer.
Okay. To get new pilots going.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go to Korea.
I probably figured.
He was supposed to stay here and train pilots.
But they needed people.
No, he volunteered to
Oh,
go
he
for
did.
another guy. The idiot. He volunteered to take the place of a young man.
Yeah, I thought you would have learned by then, Hank, that volunteering is a bad word in the military,
And
right?
then not just one tour, but like 51 missions. Yeah.
Oh,
I forget.
I
where it is.
tell
It's
you.
in here somewhere.
maybe I'm laughed at a lot.
Where does it
Or
go?
criticized. But if you watch sometimes where there's an American flag, and you watch my eyes, I love this country.
You know something,
Same thing
Hank?
happens to me every time.
You're
National
but
anthem
you
is
have to
fine.
understand that you saying that is a big inspiration for me.
That I love.
You know, you guys stood up and did what had to be done, and we haven't had a generation that's had to do that in a
I
while.
know. I told my son,
Hank, this idea that you think people are in some way criticizing you or laughing at you is just not true.
well, I have had it happen. I won't say a lot, but I've had it happen. Well, you're crazy. They call me crazy. stay away from me, one guy said, stay away from me.
Well,
You're out of your mind.
you mean about your missions? Or
Yeah.
why would they say that?
No. I don't know.
I've never. Hi.
I don't know.
Well, we certainly aren't in that bunch,
No,
Hank.
I'm not in it either.
No.
At a football game this year, they, at the beginning of the game, their loudspeaker said, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem?" And we all got up and it was quiet. And then they started playing the national anthem. And two fellows, they were, I'd say in their 25, 28, something like, maybe even early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But they're standing there, and they were standing all right, but they were playing around with that.
Oh yeah, they're not even paying attention.
And I was standing there, and I looked down, and I saw those football players were at full attention, and the referees were, one was on the ground, like praying, and I looked over and I, whoop! I had the guy in front of me by the neck. You pull him around. I said, God,
Have some
you
respect.
did you hear what the man said? You will stand at attention. I put him down. He looked at me and he stood at 10. I looked around. Here comes about 6 or 8 other men back behind me were coming to help me.
Yeah, you bet.
They were.
You bet. That's an awesome story too, man.
They were coming to help me, and I felt so proud. Not that I did it, but that there's Americans.
Well, and you know what? I think you and I are going to continue to get along really well because I believe in holding people accountable. How do we keep this country great without doing that?
You don't.
You know, we've lost some common decency in this country, and that's very scary.
Yep.
And you know, I just don't want. You talk about you being judged. I don't want to be judged by you as being the kid that's not carrying the weight now in this country because we were given everything.
Yeah.
We were spoiled to death.
Well, I'll tell you something. I never had. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not crying about it or whatever you say, but I'm truthful. I've never had a youth.
No, it was taken from you, wasn't it?
Yes.
And the worst part of it was your own peers back at school made you feel that you had to prove something. And I think that that's unfortunate because, you know, God was looking after you, though, because he knew that you were good already.
Well,
And you went out to prove yourself, and he protected you, I think, to some degree. Otherwise, there's just no explanation for your survival.
I know he did. I'll tell you, I was voted by my class on graduation day. They announced it over the loudspeaker and everything. The student, the least likely to succeed. Now, how do you,
Who would
how
do
do you,
something
how
like
would you like to get that?
No, I can't even imagine.
To have
I mean,
that
Hank, in all
attached to it.
fairness, were you a bad kid?
No. Oh, my dad would skin me alive, man. But no, I worked down the coal mines with him.
Yeah, you busted your hump.
Yeah, but that hurt. Oh, did
Oh,
that
my
hurt?
God.
That's
And
horrible.
you know what I said to myself? I'll show him. I'll show him.
You did.
Wait, I'll show him. And I did.
You sure as hell did. And some.
I come home one time, and they had the whole damn town out for me.
That's wonderful.
Good.
And
Well, there you go. You
I
got
felt-
recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt proud.
Well, you
I
should
really
be.
You should.
feel proud. And like I said, I just can't say enough about my country. And they better listen.
Well, you're making me proud right now to just talk to you, really. Honest.
No. Thanks.
It's such it's a privilege for me to connect with you at your age and your experience level. I can't tell you how much that means. This is real life. And there's not a lot of real life out there going on anymore. People are not even looking at each other anymore.
No.
But, you know, guys like us, we got to keep them straightened out.
Yeah. I talked about the football game. I've been to a lot of activities. They play the Star Spangled Banner, and you look around and you see some people not paying attention and everything else, and it hurts me.
I bet it does.
Hurts me very much so, because you see, I can close my eyes and I see the death faces of my friends, and that fought for those.
And not only that, you did lose some of your youth, like you said.
Yeah.
You sacrificed, and then you think, if I was in your shoes personally,
Yeah.
I would look out and think people don't appreciate it in some ways because they're so spoiled.
Yeah.
But there is a big cross section of people out here, Hank, who just adore you and really
I know
care
that.
about what you've done.
Yeah, I know that, but when you have two young Americans carry on like that, that's just, and you look around the stadium, you see other people, most of them, are standing at attention. Look down on, like this, like I did, and see the officials kneeling on the ground, hat off and head lowered. You feel proud.
Yep.
Then you have two nuts in front of you.
Two jerks
Yeah.
that don't know what freedom is all about at
That's
all.
right, that's right.
So, Hank,